Trigger warning. This story contains descriptions of child abuse, neglect, and disturbing conditions. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. I repeat, this story contains descriptions of child abuse, neglect, and disturbing conditions. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. Imagine living in a home where laughter is forbidden, food is scarce, and chains rattle louder than voices. Now imagine that home is hidden in plain sight. A suburban house in California where 13 children live under the control of their parents, starving, silenced, and unseen. This isn't a nightmare. This is the true story of the Turpin family.
This is 911. Do you have an emergency?
I just ran away from home.
Do you know what street you're on?
No. I just ran away from home because I live in a family of 15, okay? Can you hear me? And we have abusing parents. Did you hear that?
Okay, how did they abuse you?
Okay. They hit us, they throw us across the room.
Welcome back to Audio Man Dark Stories, where the shadows speak and the silence reveals the darkest truths. Tonight, we are diving into one of the most disturbing family crimes in American history. The Turpin case. On the outside, David and Louise Turpin looked like a quirky religious couple raising a large family. They smiled for family photos at Disneyland, dressed their kids in matching outfits, and shared snapshots of what seemed like a happy home. But behind those photos was a house of horror, a place where children were shackled and starved and robbed of their childhoods. This isn't just a crime story. It's a chilling look at how evil can disguise itself as ordinary, and how one young girl's bravery shattered decades of silence.
This is 911. Do you have an emergency?
I just ran away from home.
Do you know what street you're on?
No. I just ran away from home because I live in a family of 15, okay? Can you hear me? And we have abusing parents. Did you hear that?
Okay, how did they abuse you?
Okay. They hit us, they throw us across the room. They pull our hair, they yank out our hair. I have my two little sisters right now are chained up.
Okay, how old are you?
I'm 17.
What's your name?
Jordan Turpin.
Okay, I'm going to connect you to the service department so that they can help
What?
you. One moment, don't hang up.
I won't.
Jordan?
You're looking at the body camera footage from the deputy as he arrives.
What's going on?
Okay. I just ran away from home,
Okay.
and I live in a family of 15.
Okay.
My two little sisters right now are chained up.
They're chained up?
Yes,
Where are they chained up at?
on the bed. Now, Mother didn't chain them up just to be mean. Okay. They're chained up because they stole Mother's food.
Uh-huh.
But I'm sorry if I talk too much. Okay. I've never talked to anybody out there, so I've never been alone with a person, so this is very hard for me to talk. Okay.
How do your parents know you left your house?
No, they don't.
Do you take any medication?
What's medication?
Medication?
Yeah, what's medication?
Do you take pills? Do you take pills?
Oh, I
For-
don't think I've ever taken a pill before.
Okay.
Right, I haven't. But
The girl with the strange vocabulary nervously puts on a little hat, a reminder of one of her sisters who's depending on her.
our parents are abusing. They abuse us.
But the reason I called and the reason I managed to get out here, this is one of the most scariest things I've ever done. I'm terrified. But I called because my two little sisters, they're chained up right now.
Do you have pictures of that?
Yes, I can show you. I actually didn't have it, and then one of my sisters told me I need to get pictures.
You have pictures of your sisters chained up?
Yes, but they're in here. Okay. I don't have proof of everything, but I have proof that my sisters are chained up. So, see?
She doesn't seem to know the word
Here,
bruised.
you can look at that. See, those are the places that make it on that. And see how dirty she is? We're so filthy. We don't take baths. We don't.
How did your sisters get like this?
Okay.
Your parents chained them up?
Yes, because they stole food.
Okay.
But they stole it because they were hungry.
Who took this picture?
I did. I took those pictures.
Okay. You make sure to save these, okay?
Okay, I will.
Don't get rid of those.
I will. I won't.
David Allen Turpin, born October 17, 1961, was a computer engineer who had once had a respectable career. He graduated from Virginia Tech and worked at major companies like Lockheed Martin and Northrop Grumman. His wife, Louise Ann Robinette, was born May 24, 1968. The two first crossed paths at Princeton High School in West Virginia. By 1985, they were married in Perrysburg, Virginia. David was 23, Louise just 16. The couple originally identified as Pentecostal Christians. They believed they were called by God to have as many children as possible. Between 1988 and 2015, they had 10 daughters and 3 sons. But behind this facade of religious devotion, the family lived a far darker reality. Relatives later claimed the Turpins experimented with other lifestyles, including witchcraft and swinging. Abuse. The family lived in Fort Worth, Texas until 1999, before relocating to the smaller town of Rio Vista. By 2007, the abuse escalated. 10 of the children were moved into an isolated trailer. David and Louise kept the 2 youngest with them, abandoning the others to survive with only meager groceries dropped off once a week. Jordan Turpin, only 6 years old at the time, remembered the constant hunger. She described eating ketchup, mustard, or even ice just to fill her stomach. When the family eventually left the Rio Vista property in 2010, neighbors who entered were horrified. They found filth everywhere, feces smeared, beds with ropes tied to them, piles of garbage, and the remains of dead animals. In 2014, the Turpins moved to Perris, California. Neighbors began to notice strange things. The children were eerily silent, almost invisible unless spoken to. They skipped instead of walked. Their skin was pale, their bodies gaunt. Family members tried to check in but were kept at a distance. Louise's own sisters said they were not allowed to see the children. Another relative admitted she had worried about their weight, yet Facebook painted a different picture. Photos of smiling kids led others to believe the Turpins were a happy family. There were, however, public outings. The Turpins paraded all 13 children through Disneyland dressed in matching t-shirts, smiling for pictures. David and Louise's obsession with the park was even displayed on their car license plates, DS Land and DL Forever. But behind that carefully curated image, the family was preparing to move again, this time to Oklahoma. Jordan overheard the plans. She knew it was time to act. The Turpin children had quietly plotted their escape for over 2 years. On January 14, 2018, they finally took the chance. 2 sisters climbed over the window in the dead of night. One, just 13, panicked and returned. But Jordan, 17, pressed forward. Armed only with a deactivated cell phone, she called 911. Her voice trembled as she spoke to dispatchers. She and her siblings were abused, starved, and some were even chained to their beds. She said the smell in the house was so unbearable it choked her. To prove it, she showed officers photos when they arrived. Deputies from the Riverside County Sheriff's Department entered under the guise of a welfare check. Louise and David greeted them, confused as to why the police were there. But what the deputies walked into was a nightmare. The stench of human waste, rotting garbage, dead pets, and mold hit them immediately. Every surface was covered in filth. Inside, they discovered 12 more children. One had been shackled to a bed for weeks. 2 others had been unchained only moments before. Their bodies told the story. Bruises on arms, skeletal frames, dirt caked on their skin. The children were so small, so malnourished, that deputies initially believed they were all minors, when in fact, 7 were adults. Among the chaos, they also uncovered hundreds of journals, heartbreaking accounts of the children's lives in captivity. For years, David and Louise Turpin had imprisoned, beaten, and strangled their own children. They rationed food to once a day. Baths came just once a year. Malnourishment was so severe that the oldest daughter, Jennifer, 29, weighed only 82 pounds. A 12-year-old's arm measured the size of a baby's. Their education was non-existent. Some didn't know what medication was. Others had no idea what police even were. The abuse was not random. It was methodical, deliberate, and sustained. Experts called it extraordinary, not only because it spanned decades, but because both parents inflicted systematic torture on multiple children and adults. The charges were staggering: 12 counts of torture, 12 counts of false imprisonment, 7 counts of dependent adult abuse, 6 counts of child abuse, and 1 count of lewd act on a child under 14 for David. Bail was set at $9 million for Louise and $12 million for David. They never saw freedom again. David was later hit with another additional charge of perjury after filing false education affidavits claiming his children were homeschooled. Louise's defense tried to argue she needed mental health treatment for a diagnosed personality disorder, but the judge flatly denied it, ruling she was a danger to the public. On February 22, 2019, the couple dropped their not guilty pleas. They admitted guilt, 1 count of torture, 3 of willful child abuse, 4 of false imprisonment, and 6 of cruelty to a dependent adult. Both received life sentences with the possibility of parole after 25 years. But experts believe the severity of their crimes ensures they will never walk free. David was transferred to the California State Prison in Courtroom. Louise was placed in the Central California Women's Facility. The aftermath of it all. The children spent 2 months in the hospital. Doctors treated them for heart damage, cognitive impairment, and neuropathy caused by years of neglect. The 6 minors were then placed in foster care, a decision that led to tragedy yet again. In October 2019, 5 of the younger siblings were placed with another abusive family. Reports accused the foster parents of beating them with belts and sandals, pulling their hair, forcing them to eat until they vomited, then making them eat their own vomit. The foster father was also accused of molestation. Eventually, the foster family was arrested and charged with multiple counts of abuse. By 2020, prosecutors announced that the Turpin children were beginning to live independently. Some were working, others attending school. One had even graduated from college, yet the trauma of their past and failures of the system were not over. In 2021, ABC's 2020 released a chilling documentary, Escape from a House of Horror. It revealed that some of the Turpin siblings had again been neglected by social services. Some had even ended up homeless. Shockingly, none of them had access to the hundreds of thousands of dollars donated to them for their recovery. The money was locked in a trust controlled by a court-appointed guardian, Vanessa Espinoza. Joshua Turpin revealed he had even denied the simple request of buying a bicycle. Jordan Turpin, in an emotional interview with Diane Sawyer, recalled being dropped from foster care without warning. No plan for housing, no life skills, not even basic instructions on how to find food or healthcare. By July 2002, the siblings filed lawsuits against Riverside County, Foster Family Network, and ChildNet Youth and Family Services, alleging further abuse and neglect in the foster care system. The lawsuits represented both the older and younger siblings. Investigations later confirmed that the foster home had 9 alleged victims under its roof. On September 19, 2024, justice was delivered once again. Foster father Marcelino Olguin pleaded guilty to 3 counts of lewd acts on a child under 14, child endangerment, and false imprisonment. His wife, Rosa, and daughter, Lenise, also pleaded guilty to child endangerment and false imprisonment. Marcelino was sentenced to 7 years in state prison. Rosa and Lenise received 4 years of probation. The Turpin case was one of the most shocking crimes of modern America. It involved the prolonged abuse of children and dependent adults by their own biological parents, David and Louise Turpin of Perris, California. 13 victims in total, ages ranging from just 2 years old to 29. On January 14, 2018, the unimaginable finally began to unravel. A 17-year-old daughter, Jordan Turpin, summoned all her courage, escaped through a window, and called local police. What officers would uncover inside that house was beyond disturbing. Evidence of cruelty that spanned decades. The sheer number of dependents, the calculated number of the abuse, and how long it went on turned this case into an international headline. Experts in family abuse would later describe it as extraordinary in its horror. In February 2019, David and Louise pleaded guilty to 14 felony counts, including torture, child abuse, abuse of dependent adult, and false imprisonment. Just 2 months later, both were sentenced to life in prison, with the possibility of parole only after 25 years.